630 CHED presents The Announcers. Opinion, personality, passion. The Announcers on 630 CHED, Edmonton's breaking news and conversation station.
Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of The Announcers. Sitting across from me, the dastardly duo, Andrew Grose and Jalen Nye, hosts of the 630 CHED Afternoon News. My name is Ryan Jespersen. I had a moment earlier this week. I won't say I wasn't proud of myself. I kind of was proud of myself. I don't know if I'd take a do-over, but I wasn't very pleasant to someone who at 9:30 p.m. rang my doorbell to ask me if I wanted to donate to his cause du jour.
Well, that's better than a puck in the face. Yeah. Still coming back from that one. Hey, Ryan.
You know what? Good on you for going off on the guy. First off, 9:30 at night, that's way too late to be showing up at the door. But you know what? Don't show up at my house, ring my doorbell
Ever.
for anything.
Was it 9:30 at night or
9:30 at night,
Don't
rang the
do it.
doorbell.
Don't do it. You know, I don't want your kids coming to sell me crap. I don't want you selling me vacuum cleaners. I don't want to, if I wanted to give money to the charity that you're involved with, I would find out. Go away.
Wow.
Sorry. I'm
Don't say sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just done with it.
Me
Don't-
too. I am
don't come
done
to my
with it.
house. This is it's my little sanctuary. When I'm home, don't bug me. I don't answer the door. I don't answer the phone. I will look to see who it is. Don't bug me.
Yes. This has been The Announcers.
Exhale. Sorry.
Somebody's got a cottage overlooking Lake Cranky. Yeah. Well, I don't like it either, but you have to divide between those that come to the door to sell you security systems, hot water tanks, cleaning, and those little girls that are selling cookies.
No, you know what? Because you know what? Their parents come to work and sell their damn cookies
Well,
here.
not everyone's parents.
I don't need... Yeah, well, I can always buy Girl Guide cookies here.
Well, you can buy them, but you're not helping that individual child.
No, I'm helping the Girl Guides. That's fine.
I didn't think we'd go right to Girl Guides, but I'm a huge supporter of children raising money for whatever it is they want to participate in. And
No, I'm against that.
Well, let's just say, what other way are they to do it than to go door to door, but to be respectful of certain time frames for these kind of things. 9:30 at night, certainly too late. The girls should be back counting their cash by then. I wouldn't do it any earlier than, say, 11 in the morning. I don't like unsolicited sales calls of any kind, whether it be spam mail or robocalls or what are those calls called that, just out of the blue?
Yeah, whatever you call them. Cold
no,
calls.
not cold
or
calls. There's a
robocalls.
term for it.
Let's call them unsolicited
How about
solicitations.
Exactly, yeah.
Annoying
I don't want to
calls.
be solicited for a merchant's product or service. But I do say there is a difference between that and children fundraising. I think it develops great work ethic in a child. I think it's important that children support themselves and raise money for themselves, learn about business. And so I would exclude whatever we agree upon today. I would exclude children raising money for a school or organization.
It's interesting in our neighborhood, a few times a year, actually, and we're happy to contribute to this. We'll just get a little pamphlet in the mailbox, and it's typically the Boy Scouts, I think, that organize it, the Cub Scouts or whatever it is, and they say, hey, this Saturday we're going to be in your neighborhood conducting a bottle drive. They said, if you don't see us on the street, if you're afraid you'll miss us, please, we'd be so appreciative if you'd leave a black garbage bag out front with some cans or bottles in it. Just tape this notice to it so we know it's for us. And we'll be by. They've never rang our doorbell, nothing. We're getting solicitors at our door every single night. We're getting them from energy providers. We're getting them from security systems, those hawking those. We're getting them from house painters. We're getting them from lawnmowers. And I'm quite frankly sick and tired. It's my personal space. If you're walking up the front door to my house, you're on my property. And I do understand that I'm the old guy now, the old man that's like, get off my lawn, get off my property. But you know what? I think that the old man that's been screaming about this for a while is finally onto something, because it's an invasion of my personal space. We have the hockey game turned all the way down in our house at night because we've got an infant sleeping, and then some jackass is going to come along and ring my doorbell at 9:30. He's just created an hour worth of problems for me. You know the guy that showed up last night? You want to know what he says? I opened the door. I've got for those that are listening on radio, not watching us on YouTube right now, I've got a big black eye from a hockey puck, like you alluded to, Andrew. First thing he says, he drops a big expletive at the door. right out. First thing he says, he goes, "Oh, drops it." Then he goes, "What the hell happened to your eye, man?" And I'm sitting there looking at him like he immediately raised my blood pressure was already up because of the doorbell. He raised it another 20 degrees as soon as he asked me that. And then I say, "What's your point? Why are you here?" Like, he knew that I was not on his team right out of the gates.
Oh, you should have answered right away.
Says,
what happened to your eye? You should have said, some guy tried to sell me something.
Yeah, I'm not that quick. I don't, And he says to me, anyway, the reason why I'm here for some, and it was like some Save the Children campaign, except for this, and I don't know if he's a scam artist or not, but this guy was going to try to sell me on a bunch of crumpled up handwritten papers that he had, some brochure that he's been carrying around town for 4 years, all the edges are bent, some ID that you got to be kidding me. You think I don't know people have access to a laminating machine? He says, "You've heard about all these earthquakes in Ecuador?" And so, okay, all these opportunists are out. And that's not to say that there aren't agencies that are helping. But the guy says to me, "Yeah, you know who we are. You know, the ones with all the sad commercials." And I look at him and I go, "You don't even take your job seriously." I said, "Don't ever ring my doorbell again." And I close the door in his face, and my wife says to me, "Well, that was a little harsh." And I said, I finally, it's 2016. If you as an organization, if you, nonprofit or for-profit, have not found a way to reach out to people without invading their personal space and ringing their doorbells, you're doing it wrong. And it certainly sounds like the councils in Markham and Mississauga, Ontario feel the same way. They could be leading the charge when it comes to cracking down on these privacy invasions.
Go get them, Tigers. Go get them.
May I ask a hypothetical question?
You can ask a non-hypothetical question.
All right, you're a new father.
Yeah.
I'm just curious and sincerely asking. So say 6 to 7 years down the road, when your child comes home and says, "Our school is raising money for a trip and we're selling almonds door to door," what will you tell your child?
I'm going to tell my child, and I don't know because I haven't thought about it to this point, but maybe something along the lines of, we're going to write the check and then you're going to work off the amount of that check by mowing the lawn and helping mom with this and helping dad with that. I can't, you know what? I mean, I know that this is actually sounding like a really negative radio bit here, which was not our intention, but I feel like we're on the therapy couch right now. I can't stand when coworkers bring in fundraising items and put it in front of us. I can't stand. We were at an event the other night, an event that I was working as the host, and someone comes up to me and presents me with paperwork and asks me to donate to their child's initiative. Like, what? Yeah. What? No. Mm-mm. Like, what? Putting the people on the spot type thing. I mean, I can't handle it. And I think that you are right, Andrew. I think to a certain extent, children can learn something by selling chocolate almonds or selling Girl Guide cookies or participating in bottle drives. But times have changed. I mean, hey, you want a little twist to this story is that I made my living one summer. I paid for a year of university selling educational books door to door. Yeah. And that's why I think to a certain extent I've had some sympathy for people. But the only reason I was able to sell books door to door is because the internet wasn't big yet.
Right.
And there was certainly no such thing as Twitter or any other way to reach people. Mm-hmm. And it's such an arcane method.
So is there a compromise that you could live with? You mentioned a bottle drive where you get a notification in advance that if you have bottles, leave them out on your porch. Are you okay with that?
Sure. I give them so $20 for the bottles every time.
Sure. So you just want to change the
3 or 4 days
slightly,
worth.
Make it yeah, I'm sure you do.
One weekend at the Jespersen place.
I'm just thinking about, for example, a sports team, like a Bantam football team, and you've got the coaches and the parents, and they've donated their time not only to the team but to this fund drive on their Saturday. They've got their kids out there learning that, hey, if you want to have new equipment or if you want to get jackets for the team or whatever the fundraising is, we need to do it all together. We're not asking parents to write a check. And you have to remember, too, that when you're talking about a team or organization, you said you'd write a check. Maybe not every parent can write a check. That's
100%. And maybe I can't afford to write a check every single time. I'm just saying I don't get the whole, like, there are so many great causes. And I recognize it here, and I'm going to put you back on the spot in just a second because I don't want to be the one that's arguing against fundraising for kids. Give me a break. I mean, of course it's important. But I did just donate to a sledge hockey team that a representative came to the door a while ago and was happy to make a donation because a little buddy of mine, Declan, plays sledge hockey, and I was happy to do that. And then I'll be happy to buy chocolate almonds. Then I'd be happy to donate my bottles. And then I'd be happy to. But the fact of the matter is, I can't go anywhere because my house is on a foundation on that piece of property.
Yeah.
And people, I get to the point where there may be worthy causes, but people are taking liberties, and I don't want my doorbell rang every freaking night because somebody's got a good cause.
I get that, and I just wanted to take this argument and divide it because I think we're all in agreement that we don't want merchants coming door to door and trying to sell us on a product that we weren't interested in. I would agree as well that organized charitable events, big events, like you sponsor a child overseas, do whatever. If I'm interested in those, I will seek you out and I will find you. The problem with the Markham, Mississauga, is it Markham and Mississauga? Yeah. The problem with that is they want to ban all door-to-door solicitation.
No, except for charity. Except for charity.
Okay, well then I would go farther. I was going to say that goes too far.
I'd say ban it all.
I would say ban it all with the exception of, and again, local children's beneficial fundraiser.
Door to door is when you don't have Facebook. You know, door to door is when you don't have Twitter. Like if I wanted to reach, there's a gentleman that lives on our street, and he's just a wonderful guy, and he's raising money. I think it's for the Canadian Diabetes Association or something, and we donate every year. Quite frankly, because he lives right across the street from us, and it wouldn't be worth it to not donate. But it's also a great cause. Mm-hmm. But if I had to reach as many people as I possibly could in 2016, would I go door to door to all of my friends' houses, or would I post something on Facebook?
Well, see, and that's why I argue that they're different, because you're getting something for your money when a child comes door to door and sells you almonds or sells you whatever, whereas what you're talking about is asking just for money. So for what? For a charitable receipt, for a feel-good moment? That I don't agree with. I don't want to be asked at my door if I want to support a particular charity. But as far as those chocolate almonds or Girl Guide cookies or those sort of things, or getting rid of my bottles means I don't have to drive over to the bottle depot myself. I don't rely on that money. So those are all services in return, service or product in return for that small disruption.
Do you think charities should be banned from going door to door along with for-profit groups?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way. Yeah, because you know what? I'm sick of the high-pressure tactics that oftentimes comes along with the charity stuff. I'll say it right up front. It was Amnesty International showed up at my door, and I finally agreed to it after about, I don't know, a half an hour of him making me feel guilty.
Why'd you let him go that long?
Because I don't even know. I was living over in Terwilliger, just around from you, and he was going on. I'm like, no, and I didn't feel that I could afford to do it at that time. I had just been divorced. My money was tight, all of that, and finally I said, okay, I'll just give you $10 a month to get you off my step. And so I kept paying it for ages and ages, and then trying to cancel it was like trying to pull out your own tooth. It was almost impossible to do, but I felt guilty all the way through.
Well, and that's why they do it, Jaylyn. That's the whole methodology. That's the whole thought.
You know, when I finally did want to go sponsor a World Vision child, I went and did it on my own. When I was ready, I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. I went onto the website, signed up, got my little girl over in the DRC. The following year, I'm like, okay, I can afford to do another one. I want to do another one. I went online, did it myself. Don't come to my door. Don't make me feel guilty. And I know if that's your MO and that's how it works for you, and obviously it worked on me with Amnesty International, but geez, I will not accept it anymore.
Yeah,
I will not.
And we're usually pretty even keel. Well, we're passionate people. We're pretty even keel, but it's pretty rare that we'll just come on and like blast charities. You know, I mean, it's an unpopular position, but I hit my boiling point this week, and it's not going to simmer down. I've reached the point now where I have zero tolerance.
And here's the thing, though, we do all of it. Do tons of charity work. We donate our time to all sorts of different charities.
See, I won't. I won't let you. I won't take that.
Don't ding-dong me on.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to take that free ride from you. I don't donate my time to charitable organizations.
Okay, well,
I
Ryan and I
them.
do.
Yeah,
Ryan and I do.
In the interest of full disclosure.
Well, yeah, but Andrew, when a charitable organization brings you in as a headliner for a fundraiser, you bring in funds.
Sure, and I have a charitable rate as well.
You know, and you have a charitable rate. So do I. I know you do as well, whether you like to say it or not, because we've talked about it. But I wonder if at these charitable events, if the caterers and everyone else is getting paid, and they are. I think that's a bit of a different issue. But the fact of the matter is, I just think we've gotten to a point where 100 years ago, if people needed Bibles or snake oil or pots and pans, then they were reliant on the door-to-door salesperson to come by, because that's how it was done, because there weren't department stores and there certainly wasn't the internet. But we're to a point now where I think people are in a day and age where privacy concerns exist more than any other. I mean, the worst thing for me, and I'll tell you, and if you just happen to have the 1 in a million chance of being a door-to-door person in Edmonton and you come to my door and you realize it's me, don't tell me that you recognize me. Don't point out that now you know where Ryan Jespersen lives.
Oh, wow.
That's happened to me before. And I'll chase somebody off my property. I've got a child. I've got a family. And whether or not you're saying it in an innocent way, I mean, I feel like this is therapy right now. Don't identify me on the front door of my house. Don't indicate that now you know where you know what I mean? Like that's the exact reason. That's one of the exact reasons why I don't want people at my door in the first place. Leave me alone. But I also don't want to be the person with no solicitor's sign on their mailbox. Because I remember 20 years ago or 30 years ago as a kid, always thinking that those people were the biggest jerks on the street.
Big meanies, right? The big meanies. But I moved to where I live now because I wanted to be away from having, neighbors right on top of me. I wanted it to be quiet. I moved out there for a specific reason because it is quieter for me. It's nicer. You have a little bit of space. So when you start walking up my driveway and my dogs start barking and I see you coming and ringing my doorbell, there's two options here. Either I'm going to ignore you completely while you hear me screaming at the dogs to shut up, or I'm going to open the door and I'm going to lose it on you.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
You know what? I mean,
you were just coming over for dinner.
I dropped by.
I remember one morning when I was living over in Allendale and I was getting ready for work to go to Global, and I'm doing my hair and I have to go to work. This is a Sunday morning or Saturday morning, whenever it is. I'm doing my hair, getting my dress on, going to do the newscast, and someone coming around wanting to talk to me about whatever religion it was. I've got Prince playing, some dirty Prince song playing. Like, it was Prince album. I don't know which album it was, but Prince. Like,
well, not personally. But
his religion is
I think
sex.
it was like Cream or something like that, right? And these two show up at my door, and I was just like, what are you doing here? Like, it's Sunday morning. Go away. Just
But again,
go away.
the proselytizing at the door. Like, are people under the impression
that
either heathens are unaware that religion exists, or that they're unable to find the religion that they're so desperately craving? Like, let's stop sending these poor 19-year-old Mormon kids and these poor Jehovah's Witness kids, young adults, door to door to present an unsolicited message. Everybody knows you're there. Yeah. Everybody sees your churches. If people feel a God-shaped void in their heart, they will search you out and they will find you.
Exactly.
Feel free to pray for me all you like, but don't ring my doorbell. I'm serious.
I know.
I am going to have that sign made up and put on my front door.
But again, then you'll be a lot of people, I guarantee you, those that are upset with us still listening, and that's not to discount those who have already tuned out. Some people's opinions may have changed, most particularly, Jay, of you and I. Yeah. Because I think some people are going to think that this attitude lacks grace and this attitude lacks compassion. But I'll tell you what, you are not automatically invited onto my property. You are never automatically invited onto my property.
Boy, people are angry, eh?
I am angry.
Yeah.
I am. And you know what? This was a while ago. You should have seen me 5 minutes after the doorbell rang when my kid was screaming and my dog was barking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same sort of a thing with panhandlers. Okay? Whether or not you support panhandling, in my opinion, is not indicative of whether or not you have a heart for displaced people or for homeless people or for those struggling with addiction. And sure, we've all thrown a couple of bucks or $5 or whatever to a homeless person, for sure. But even those that are working in those advocacy groups, even those that are working for these social agencies will say, please do not support the panhandlers. Please put your dollars to agencies that the panhandlers know exist so we can better further these programs. And cities have gone so far as to place bans on panhandling because citizens have, quite frankly, become sick of the ask.
Well, and that's it. You're sick of the ask. And one of the things, I don't know who to trust anymore. Are you just a shyster? Because there's so many shysters out there standing there. Oh, yeah, I don't have a car. I don't have a job. Give me money. And then turn around and hop into a BMW and drive away or something stupid like that. I just don't know who to trust anymore. So I just don't. I don't.
I feel like this is my first day in radio.
I'll tell you something, though. I was leaving downtown. I was at a tailor downtown. There was a guy going through the dumpster in the back alley, and I handed him $20. I said, "Here you go, buddy." I was driving by. I'm like, "Here's $20." And he's
Not
like,
her first day in radio.
Well, that's it. And that's what it was. And I said, "Here's $20 and go," but I would rather do it if I see him doing that than sitting on the side of the road with a sign saying, "Give me money." Like, screw off.
Why do you feel like it's your first day in radio?
Man, I'm cranky today.
Because we're actually we're actually saying how we feel instead of a bunch of BS.
No, not at all. Because typically when I come in, I say to both of you, listen, I don't really have much to say say on this, and then I hog most of the conversation, and I'm totally aware of that. But today I was like, oh, I got a ton to say on this, and now I'm just enjoying this.
Yeah.
You're both on the same page.
But I've been waiting to. I mean, I've been waiting to say this for like if you're right now listening to this in your car on your way to go ring people's doorbells,
Don't do it.
give it a second thought. Give it a second thought.
We talked about this week on our show, and I got called a mean old lady because of it. A mean old lady.
Because you didn't want the door-to-door solicitation?
Because I was like, well, the little kids that show up at the house. Oh, you're a mean old. And then I was told that I needed to have a baby because my hormones would start to change and I would become nice and caring.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, yeah, that's not going to help.
Listen, I'll just say right now that
That's
I
not
regret
gonna help.
sending that text. Had I known what the reaction was going to be.
I thought it was funny, but I thought, oh my gosh, you're calling me a mean old lady because I don't want someone showing up at my door. No, I'm just want my privacy. I'm not a mean old lady. I'm a nice middle-aged woman, but don't show up at my door uninvited. That's it. That's it. I won't do it to you. Don't do it to me.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We've still got 3 minutes to fill. What do you want to talk about?
Well, let me just say this about that. I think in all of this conversation, the one thing that resonated with me that was something I didn't think of prior to this conversation was something that you said about 3.5 hours ago.
If there's a God-fearing boy in your heart.
I feel so much better now.
I'm glad you do. What you said was you were just talking about, in this world and how things have changed. And I hadn't really considered that part of it, that we never get to shut down. We never turn off. We're checking our email. We're being told when somebody's looking for us. We're online. We work 24 hours. I mean, if you're awake, you're working. Most people, I think, you're checking everything. So there comes a time at which we want to just have our own space and time, and it makes the most sense that would be in our homes. So therefore, we don't want that disruption. And on that, I think we're all in agreement. Our homes are our castles. We want to be left alone there. But I'm willing, again, to be inconvenienced occasionally by a local team or
Sure.
Organization.
And who's going to crack on the 6-year-old girl selling Girl Guide cookies? Nobody's going to.
Right.
I agree. And sure, how many times have you popped by a lemonade stand when you could care less about the lemonade because you want to support a kid? And this could be, she's a future CEO at 4 years old selling Kool-Aid for 50 cents a glass, and you put a toonie in her hand or a 5, and her eyes just widen. I mean, there's something wonderful about that. To me, you touched on it. It's your home is your space, your property is your property, and I guess now I'm torn because I do feel like this week I finally hit the breaking point. I called out. I can't remember that. I think it's called like First Energy or Energy First or something like that, because they sent 3 solicitors to our door in 3 nights, 3 different ones in 3 nights, and I blew a gasket. Like, this is to the point where if I don't want you here, I don't want you here. It's a lazy way to get your business on the map. It's a lazy way to fundraise. And I just think it's going to be interesting to see how these councils in Markham and Mississauga end up voting on this and what policy kind of comes into place and whether it'll set a precedent for other councils across Canada. I know I'd certainly like to see Edmonton do the same thing.
They're hoping it will for the entire province of Ontario.
But as evidenced, and we'll probably get some emails on this, I could care less. I couldn't care less, as a matter of fact. You can send me an email if you don't like my take on this, but I don't want people ringing my doorbell, and I think in this day and age, that's probably to the point where most people are at.
Cookies, anyone?
Almonds?
That's not funny, Andrew. But I am selling these ticket packs to help raise money to outfit my hiking group. This has been the announcers. If you
Cranky
don't like
pants announcers.
If you don't like what we said, keep it to yourself. We'll talk to you next week.